Hello, good morning, and welcome to another video, and welcome to what is going to be a challenging double training day, lower body and track work. I'm in Mallorca, still here, if you've been watching recent videos. For all the reasons that I expected to find myself in Magaluf, an athletics track is not particularly high on the list of things that I expected to find myself there for, but nonetheless, that's what this morning involves, along with a lower body session at Megasport, which I'm on my way to now in Palma, which is genuinely one of the best fitness facilities I've ever been to in my life, and I am very excited to return. I am miles away from that car in front of me. Stop beeping at me. I am going to be hitting some deficit deadlifts, going to be trying some squats. I'm dealing with a bit of a hip injury at the moment, so I'm going to talk to you about how I'm managing and working around that injury niggle, how I do with everything. I've had plenty over the years. I've not really had any serious injuries for a while. Then some assistance work, going to get some work done, going to get some breakfast on board, and then going to head to the track in Magaluf for some 800s before heading back to the hotel, get some more work and some calls done before getting picked up for a wedding this evening. So a very exciting day indeed, and I'm glad that you're coming along for the ride. And to show how glad you are to be here, please make sure to like the video, comment with your thoughts, feelings, suggestions and or questions down below, and make sure to hit subscribe. And if you want to see a little bit more about what my training's been looking like in Mallorca, then make sure you are up to date on the previous videos that have been popping off out here. I really enjoyed training in the sun and sort of accessing all of the amazing facilities that this island has to offer. So let me say here and now, with total certainty, Mallorca, I will be back. See you at the gym. Okay, let's talk injury, because it's been a little while since I've done so on the channel, and I'm currently dealing with one. Bit of a niggle in my hip that's preventing me from squatting. It's kind of aggravating me in the bottom position and mainly at lockout. Been a couple of months since I've really managed any full range squatting. Today, working up to a heavy single on deficit deadlifts, beltless and stupidly without any chalk or straps, because I'm an idiot and forgot that I'd be very sweaty. So regretted not using straps for my top single here at 190, some back offsets at 170, but ultimately deadlifts are feeling okay at the moment. And that's the real point that I want to make, is my approach to injury has always been to work around whatever is aggravating it. Don't just panic and stop training entirely like a lot of people tend to do. Utilize a physiotherapist, sort of try and understand what's aggravating it as best you can, and get some professional advice 100%, but don't be completely cautious to the point where you stop moving entirely because you don't want to aggravate it. If you know a movement is going to piss it off, don't do that movement. If you know that a certain movement isn't going to piss it off, then you can do more of that movement. For me, I ultimately found triathlon as a result of not being able to do any lower body training, getting back into swimming, then getting on a bike, and then ultimately getting back on my feet a month out for my first Ironman. Today, giving squats a go for the first time in a couple of months, I just took some time off to work around the pain point, what was aggravated, not squatting, doing movements for my legs that weren't upsetting the injury site, and doing my best to make progress and let it settle. So working up to 140 here, everything's feeling okay, but this is sort of the weight where things have started to get a little bit upset in the past, so hoping that things are going to feel smooth. But I really want the overarching point here to be that you shouldn't just throw your training out of the window because you've got a little bit of a niggle or an injury. You, by virtue of being a hybrid athlete or working across a variety of disciplines, have access to a lot of things that you can apply the same progress, focus and commitment to. 140 was feeling okay, but not amazing. I then sort of took it back to 120 for some reps and thought I'd just do some sets of 6 to 8 to see how things were feeling without sort of building up too much fatigue and therefore going too fast too soon in terms of progress on my squatting, with the hip not being happy. Ultimately, these felt okay until they didn't, and I racked the bar and realized that I was still very much working around this. Time to go and see Benji, the physio that we use again, move on to the stuff that I can do, which is unilateral work. Thank goodness that my running is unaffected as it stands. It is a very squat specific, hip specific injury in certain movement patterns, so carried on with my assistance work. But I really want the overarching point here to be my approach to working around injury is to do exactly that. It's work around it as best you can, but take it very seriously with the movements that do piss it off and don't try and work through them. Avoid the things that aggravate injury, get professional support and advice and insights where you can, and then do your best to continue developing your fitness with other movement patterns, other disciplines, other focus points, other components of fitness, so that you can still get that stimulus, obsession and training focus that we probably all want. On to breakfast downstairs, with a very significant breakdown in communication when I asked for an iced latte, instead receiving a glass of ice and a latte along with my breakfast. Anyway, on to the rest of the day. Okay, gym session complete, and again, I love that place. Lower body session in a sort of outdoors, indoors setting. Really enjoyed that. Downstairs for some breakfast and some work. Fantastic, love it. What a facility. I cannot wait to return. Anyway, Mondays for me are pretty much always lower body and track focused. If I'm triathlon dominant, I'll maybe do some hard effort turbo training stuff on Mondays as well, but given I'm running focused for the time being, it's track/interval work. And workload is always the same on Mondays. Mondays are completely time blocked out for me to focus on one-to-one programming and checking in with other athletes all over the world in a one-to-one capacity with Omnia. And a special shout out to Ollie Watson and Shane Connolly, who completed Ironman Cairns yesterday. And Shane, especially on the platform that we are currently watching this on, has a YouTube channel and has documented a remarkable journey. When he started working with us, he was 145 kilos. He is now 108 kilos and yesterday completed Ironman Cairns. He's Australian and he did it on home turf, which is even more sentimental and fantastic. His lifts have gone up, his body composition is in a much better place than when he started. His performance has skyrocketed and he's completed an Ironman. He's been an absolute pleasure to work with, an absolute grafter. He's got his head down and done what's needed done the whole way through. And the whole thing's documented on YouTube, so my recommendation and suggestion, and in fact request for you all, is once this video is complete, you go and pepper Shane's channel, linked in the description down below, with love and support for the journey that he's been on, because we all want to see him improve his time and maybe push even further and faster in the future. Who knows? Currently on the way to the track, a little bit tight on time. It's midday at the moment and I need to be back at the hotel for 2 p.m. for a call. So I've got 2 hours from now. I've got either 4 or 6 800s. I can't actually remember. Hoping it's 4 for the time pressure and the fact that the 5th and 6th 800 are always the hardest. Magaluf. Never thought I'd find myself in Magaluf, to be honest, but see you there. Okay, enough's enough. Mallorca is the best training location potentially on the planet. So if you are interested in the potential hypothetical concept of us doing an Omnia Performance summer training camp here, then comment down below that that's something you'd be interested in, because at the very least I'm going to be here a lot more frequently. This is sick. I have the whole track to myself. I mean, this is a joke. What a day. What a day, what a place. I have 4x800. It's actually 426 800. So in terms of time, I think I should be good to hit 6, but I'm going to see how I feel, because obviously being exposed to the heat for a few days, and lower body session was only like 2 hours ago really, so I don't want to take the piss. What's interesting is that in terms of injury, running has given me no issue with my hip whatsoever. It's only been with the sort of top portion of a squat, whether that's an Olympic lifting shoes, Vivos, single leg squat stuff's fine. So definitely going to go and see Benji, the physio that I use once I'm back, just to get things figured out, because time away from movements that are aggravating it hasn't solved the problem. And I'd quite like to be able to squat again, because that's like my whole thing. I'm kind of a squat specialist, so if I don't have that, what do I have? Identity crisis incoming. Anyway, I'm gonna get warmed up with 3x400 meters. First one easy, second one moderate, third one mostly easy, and then some hard, basically. And then start with some 800s. This will be fun. Rep 1, 248, a little bit slower than I would have liked, to be honest. Definitely feeling fatigue in my legs. I normally go AM, PM, lower in track, but anyone doing any of our strength or hypertrophy and running programs with Omnia will know if you can get adapted to performing sessions like this on tired legs, you'll become more efficient downstream of that in terms of adaptation over time. So this is no bad thing, just definitely means that the effort perceived on the track versus the time is a little bit slower than it would be did I have a couple of meals and some decent time between my lower body session and track reps in the evening. Rep 2, 247, not full send, but working pretty hard. I'm a long way off sub 5 minute mile pace, which was only October last year, so it just goes to show how much of a role specificity plays. But stuff like this is just so humbling. Nowhere to hide on tracks. That's why they're a fantastic training tool and just good fun. So rest. Got 1.5 minutes left, so goodbye. $248 again, pretty consistent, and I'm actually working pretty hard, so in all honesty, performance wise that's quite disappointing today, but definite fatigue from the lower body session, but working in this heat on tired legs is going to force adaptation, and I've had an absolute blast. So 4 reps, 248, 247, 248, 248, very consistent, happy days. Okay, just back at the hotel, and it is 1:53, which means I have a grand total of 7 minutes to get back to the car, get showered, preferably a cold one because I am very toasty, and then jump on my 2 till 3 calls. I should probably get a bit of a move on actually. I think we'll touch base when I'm probably much better dressed and we can debrief there. And it turns out that I didn't in fact have time to debrief the day before going to the wedding looking sharply dressed, as I only had 15 minutes after the call to get ready and get on the bus. So for the sake of keeping the peace of those around me, I decided to put the camera down and do this voiceover. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Just a reminder to drop any questions that you have in the comments down below. Any thoughts, feelings or suggestions on content, anything like that, I'd love to hear it. Make sure that you've liked the video, make sure that you've hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Also, obviously, let me know if you want to do an Omni Performance Training Camp in Mallorca next year, because I'm really keen for it and would love to see you there. Okay, thank you, bye.